Welcome to TERRA at Home with your host, Kris Moretti.
Good morning and welcome to TERRA at Home. We're in the time of year now where the gardening season is kicking into high gear. So this morning I'm going to walk you through some of my must-have tools that will serve you well all season long and be available to you and useful to you throughout the entire season. Naturally, it's good to start with planting. It's the time of year where everything's going into the garden and you need some tools for doing that. Something that never leaves my side during the garden season is a trowel. A trowel is sort of your go-to hand tool. You can use it for everything from planting small flowers to ripping open soil bags, or later in the season when we're planting bulbs, it's helpful to have measuring right on top of the blade so that you can tell how deep you're planting. This trowel in particular I like because it's made out of forged steel that's nice and strong, and it's got notched grooves on the handle that help to rip open soil bags because they're sharpened at the tips. It's also got an ergonomic handle that makes it a little bit easier to use. Those are just some optional features that make it a better tool. For bigger planting jobs, a spade is definitely everyone's must-have. We've got a wide selection with strong ash handles, and the rounded blade are ideal for digging large holes for things like tree planting and large shrubs. Again, a large forged blade makes it strong and durable, and a non-stick surface makes it easier to slide through soil. It's important to keep a spade well sharpened. It's going to make your tools that much long-lasting and will help you to work through the soil much easier. Sharp, well-maintained tools make your job easier no matter what the tool. For edging beds or creating straight lines in the garden, nothing beats a flathead shovel. You can also use a half-moon edger, but I like this tool because it's multi-purpose. So if I'm digging out new beds or want a nice clean line, the flathead shovel is where it's at. Again, keeping the blade sharp and choosing a tool with a strong handle out of a material like ash or maybe fiberglass is a great option. When everything's planted, you've got things going in the garden, cultivation is your next thing you're going to do. Again, I usually start with a hand tool. I like this one because it's multi-purpose. A cultivator on one side and a mini hoe on the other make it easy to use, and I like having tools that do double duty. So something like this is going to serve you well in more than one area. This side's great for working up the soil, even things like small weeding jobs, and this side, kept sharp, helps to remove weeds from the soil and cut through big clods of soil. One hand tool you might not be overly familiar with is this one. It looks a little scary, but I'm a big fan. This is a weeder, ideal for things like popping out dandelions. So this notched edge at the top here is ideal for digging into the soil surface and popping out dandelions. And the side, the serrated blade, is going to help to cut through heavy tap roots. And again, it's helpful to have on hand because it's easy to work in cutting open soil bags, mulch, manure, all that kind of stuff as you're working through your planting plan. With the digging done, the cultivating done, occasionally we need to do a little bit of pruning. If there's one tool I am never without all season, it's my hand pruners. They stay with me at all times and they're ideal for jobs both big and small. So for small pruning jobs, deadheading, anything of the sort, having a set of pruners on hand is indispensable. These are bypass pruners, which make it easier to cut, and keeping them sharp and well oiled is really important. I also occasionally disinfect them with a diluted solution of hydrogen peroxide, and you can also use insecticidal soap if you've been working with heavily infested plant material. For larger pruning jobs, nothing beats a good set of loppers. Different loppers come with different options. You can get them with extendable handles for reaching up into trees, and loppers of this size will cut branches up to 1.5 inches in diameter. So they're indispensable for having on hand for pruning your fruit trees or larger shrubs. And again, the bypass action makes it easier for you. Again, you want to keep them sharp and disinfected in between use. Finally, for hedges and other such things, a good pair of hedge shears is always helpful. These again, full forged steel blades mean that they'll stay sharp when you sharpen them all the way up the blade. We've also got serration on one side, which is going to help to grab material and keep it in place as you're cutting. I love hedge shears, not just for shaping woody plant material, but they're also ideal for deadheading large groups of perennials like Shasta daisy, or cutting down ornamental grasses in the early spring. When you need to clean up after the whole mess is done, of course, you need a rake. My favorite of our selection of rakes is a telescopic rake. It's ideal for small spaces, so if you don't have a lot of room for storing tools, I like this rake because, again, it's multi-purpose. It's got a telescopic handle, and it extends to full size for things like raking up leaves and mulch, but I also like this one because you can work with it half extended. This makes it ideal for working up the soil in between plantings and getting right in there with smaller materials, things like spreading stones and mulch. When everything's planted, it's time to get it watered. Let's take a look at irrigation. From your window box or planter to your entire lawn, everything in your landscape needs water. Watering is so important to the success of your garden overall, and if you're going to water anyway, you may as well do it in style. This season at TERRA, you'll find a full selection of dram-colored watering tools that help make the job a little bit more fun. They're easy to coordinate and collect in different shades of the season. Coming up after the break, more ways to celebrate summer here on TERRA at Home.
Come and explore the new TERRA, where color lives.
When we first bought the house, the lawn was nothing but brown. So I called my father-in-law. He's really good with the lawn. He knows exactly what to do.
Well, I told him you're Scott's turf builder. He said, well, I got this other stuff, and I told him, take it back to the store. But some brands have filler, like sand and gravel, stuff you don't want on your lawn. Scott's turf builder is pure food. Every granule's 100% nutrition. You get what you pay for every time. You see what happens, Tim, when you listen to your father-in-law?
All food, no filler. That's the Scott's advantage.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, where I'm now joined on our set by Clare Wagner. Clare, you're the Hamilton Community Garden Network Coordinator. For those who are watching, explain what that means.
Okay, so community garden is really any garden that's placed in a community to meet the needs of that community. And it can be anything from a school garden to just simply ornamentals along a streetway to oftentimes in Hamilton a vegetable garden is what we're talking about.
So what you do is actually provide sort of a way for all of these gardens that are throughout the community to connect and to sort of communicate with one another through you.
Exactly. The membership of the network, which is really a working group, is mostly made up of community garden coordinators, often who are volunteers, as well as individuals who are resources in the community. So like myself coordinating the network through Green Venture, which is a nonprofit environmental organization. I work through them to coordinate the network and provide resources to those coordinators and anybody who'd be interested in starting a new community garden.
As far as the need for community gardens in our area, obviously we're with new developments happening, we've got more and more people downsizing, moving into places that either have no gardens or very small amounts of space in which to garden. Is that sort of where the need for this is born?
It really is. It's twofold. So part of it is the community development need, and then part of it is finding that space for people to come together and garden, again, to meet the needs of their community. So whether that's hunger, or whether that's beautification, or whether that's even, like you mentioned, someone moving to an apartment, maybe they don't have restrictions on their income or other aspects, but they really just need a space to garden.
Yeah.
And so for them, that's their outlet, that's their hobby, that's their exercise. And so it's connecting those people to those opportunities. That's why you have a community garden.
You mentioned hunger. That's something that maybe a lot of people don't consider, but when we are talking about community gardens as a means of food gardening, that can really be a big part of a community.
It's true. It's very important. And in Hamilton, we do have a lot of communities where hunger is a real issue. And so to provide them with a space to garden, whether that's finding a space on a rooftop or in a neighbor's backyard, it's really important to get them connected to the opportunity to grow their own food. Again, it's providing those things like a healthy outlet. You're getting exercise.
Yeah.
You're getting food that you know where it's coming from. You know the source. It's not in a package, and it's often healthy. So when you get a fruit or a vegetable right off of a plant or a leaf off of a lettuce, you're getting all of the nutrients from that, as opposed to when it's traveling a long distance. Oftentimes those nutrients are breaking down.
Yep.
So it's a more healthy food, and oftentimes it's an organic food. So when you're talking about purchasing organic foods, it's not a priority for everyone, but oftentimes it's restricted to people with a higher income.
Yeah.
So to have that option to produce organic food for yourself is really huge for some people.
That's a really big thing.
Yeah.
I think another major benefit of gardening as part of a community, in a community gardening environment, is meeting people as well. You get an opportunity to connect with other people in the community. How has that played out as well?
That's really been huge, and that's where most of them start. It's a community looking, or an individual or group in a community looking to get connected to other people. So they are coming together to garden. Oftentimes that leads to energy, both in stimulating the economy in that area, so they're often patronizing local businesses.
Right.
Or they're coming together and they realize, hey, 3 of us are really excited about maybe decreasing graffiti or vandalism in our neighborhood. So new initiatives come out of these gardens, which is a really fantastic repercussion. And just getting to know your neighbors, being able to go up to someone and say, hey, I'm going away for the weekend, or hey, can I borrow that cup of sugar? Those things are becoming a reality again when they really have become less and less common in our society.
What a great way to get to actually meet your neighbors. There's
exactly.
a concept.
Literally meeting your neighbors, right?
As far as what you do, so you sort of, as we suggested, bring everyone together and provide resources to people who garden in a community setting. How many gardens are part of the network currently?
That's a great question. So we have about 16 gardens who are actively part of the network. That means that there are probably some others out there. So the network has only been around for a few years. It got re-established in around 2007. A nursing group from McMaster did a survey and found a need, really. And then Public Health and the North Hamilton Community Health Center came together and made this network a reality. It had been many different forms in the past, so it's been in existence for quite a while, but in terms of the formal network that we have today, it's mostly come since 2007. So we have those 16 gardens. In addition, there are some more private gardens. Maybe it's restricted to the tenants of a specific building.
Yep.
And there's maybe 20 or 30 of those. So there's a good number of those. They range in size from just 1 or 2 plots to up to 20 or 30 plots. The other ones we're speaking of, again, can range in size from, I think the smallest is around 20 plots.
So that's a good number of people who are already taking advantage of these programs that are out there and available.
And the demand is definitely higher than the supply right now. So one of my roles that I play is to connect people. So in addition to providing resources to coordinators such as guides or tool shares or things like that, I'm also taking those phone calls and those emails from people in the community who are saying, how do I get connected? Is there anything going on in my neighborhood? And we're finding there's a neighborhood that doesn't have anything. The next step is then I'm trying to pull them together to see if they can start an initiative in their own neighborhood.
That's a really good point that I may not have considered myself, in that, you know, you think of seeking out gardens that exist already, but why not start one yourself with a group of friends who are like-minded and are excited about the prospect? How would someone begin that process?
So the best way is to contact me, and that information will be provided.
Is there a website?
There is a website, so they can go to HCGN, so that stands for Hamilton Community Garden Network. .ca. So again, that's hcgn.ca.
Okay.
It's currently in the process of getting up and running, but that will connect you to the resources such as a map of the gardens throughout Hamilton and the contact information for them, as well as guides of how to get yourself started and my contact information. So I'm happy to consult with groups who would like to get started on a new project. and provide them the biggest thing actually, and one of the things we found is most helpful for individuals is that networking opportunity, and that's what the network is all about. So it's getting them mentorships from coordinators who have experience and can address issues. You know, if you're really concerned about vandalism in your garden, you come together and at meetings of the network, we discuss that issue and provide 5 or 6 ideas of how that may be solved for you. So that's a great resource.
It could be a great set of resources where other people have already dealt with issues that you may face in a new community garden, and you have the opportunity to talk to them, see how they've dealt with it, and move forward from there.
Yeah, and that's the idea of the website. So when it does get fully up and running, there'll be discussion boards. So that'll be a great opportunity. And in addition, although our membership, the membership of the network is really mostly coordinators and resource people, so people who really want to be active and involved, we want to also be a resource for gardeners. So the website will also include just general gardening tips and information, things like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Before we go, from your perspective, what would you say are the main benefits of getting involved in a community garden?
Okay, well, I think we touched on them already. The big one for me is growing your community. You're getting to know your neighbors, and that has so many benefits that stem beyond just the garden. And the other ones I would say would be getting outside and getting exercise, and then getting that healthy, nutritious food that you know the source of it, you know it doesn't have chemicals on it, and you know it has all those nutrients in it. So
fantastic.
Those are the top
Claire, once again, for those who want to be involved and are interested in what you've said, one more time that website again?
Okay, it's hcgn.ca.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us and for the important work you're doing right here in the community of Hamilton.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Join us after the break for a market fresh meal using fantastic produce from our local markets.
Come and explore the new TERRA, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, where we've returned from the market with some fresh ingredients for Chef Rachel to work with. Thanks for being with us as always, Chef.
Thank you for helping me today, Kris.
I'm excited to see how you transform some of our market fresh ingredients into something delicious. It's the time of year now where things are starting to come into season in the market, and it's easy to find lots of fresh stuff to work with.
Yes.
So we're going to use some of the ingredients that are maybe a little lesser known and turn them into something yummy.
Yes. Okay, our main course is going to be a salmon. We're not going to focus too much on the salmon because we're going to pay attention to these wonderful vegetables. But I just have 2 fillets here. Just sprinkled a little bit of salt and pepper on top, some fresh dill, and then I'm going to put some lemon slices on there too. Not too much of this because we have so many flavors in our veggies that I don't want this to overpower it. But those are ready for the oven, so 350. And then those will be a nice accompaniment to our vegetables.
Great.
So first of all, we're working with a couple different things here. We're working with some fresh peas and kale, which I'll get to a little later. Going to start off with the artichokes first, okay? Because they take a little bit of preparation. The artichokes and the peas we're going to quick braise with a little bit of stock, and then we're going to saute the kale. We're going to put it all together for a nice little side dish, okay?
Sounds great. I'm interested to learn how to work with an artichoke. When I got the list and when we picked them up, I thought, I have no idea what to do with this thing. So I'm excited to find out how to process and use an artichoke from fresh.
Yes, it's actually quite simple. I mean, it looks kind of scary, like what are you going to do with this? But it's actually quite easy to prepare. So these are just baby artichokes that I'm using. I'm going to start by cutting the stem off, most of the stem. We can trim that again later, but we'll start with that. Now, you just want to rip off all the outer leaves, starting from the bottom. Get as much of the leaf off as you can, but we will have to trim that again after. So you can kind of go quickly with this. because all of these outside leaves are quite woody.
Okay.
And I'll show you when we get to the middle what when you know you can stop taking these leaves off.
So we're dealing with what we commonly find in a jar or preserved as artichoke hearts, and that's sort of the meat of what we want to deal with, and the leaves are just kind of protectant for that beautiful inside.
Yes, exactly. So we are getting close when we start to see this yellow at the bottom.
Okay.
But I think I just kind of, you know, use my own judgment as to how tough these leaves are, because they do get a lot thinner as you get into the middle. So once you've made that call and you've decided that you're just about at the heart there.
So you basically just want the leaf to be sort of thin enough, delicate enough to be palatable.
Exactly.
If it still feels really corky and woody, then, and it's not something you're going to be able to chew, then that's a pretty good indication you should keep going.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of yellow here, not so much green. We are going to cut the top off, so just cut, you know, about a ½ an inch or so off the top. And it's starting to look more like an artichoke heart, right? Now you want to get rid of all this at the bottom. So using your knife or a little paring knife, you just want to trim that up. Now artichokes will discolor, and they will discolor very quick.
Okay.
So I have a bowl over there. I've started some. They have turned a little brown, but what you want to do is put them in a bowl of water and you know, some lemon juice, lemon slices, and that will definitely help. Now you can also take the lemon after you have cut it and just rub it along the edges. That'll help as well. But it's inevitable, they will turn a little brown, but we're going to saute them up anyway, so you'll never know. So after this, we've got it all trimmed nicely. We want to cut the artichoke in half. Okay.
Ooh, it's pretty inside.
It is, but the purple part isn't quite edible. It's kind of prickly, not very pleasing in your mouth. So you can just grab that and pull it right out. Now in the baby artichokes, it's not going to be as bad as the bigger ones. Okay, those will be very purple and very inedible. So you just want to make sure you get all that out, clean it up. You can use a little spoon, and they're all set to go.
Great.
So I've done that already with a couple. I've cut them into quarters, so I've cut this in half. Again, we'll pop that into there for now. In the meantime, we want to get these pans heating up, because we're going to cook everything here almost at the same time.
Great.
So we'll start with the artichokes. I have just a little bit of oil in this pan, and what I want to do is have the pan on high and sear them. Okay? So start with the cut side down, and we'll just sear them in here. I'll add a little bit of garlic too. We'll just get those going. And then once they're starting to brown on the first side there, you can flip them over.
Okay.
So, like I said, we're going to braise these, so I have a little bit of stock as well. Okay, so that's getting hot. That's good. All right. Almost got it all here. One more. Okay, great. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic into this too, just for a bit of flavor.
Of course.
We're going to put garlic in all of these vegetables, so it'll be quite garlicky when we're done, but that's okay because garlic's delicious. Okay, so we'll get those searing on high there. I have another pan here just with a little bit of melted butter, and this pan's going to be for the peas.
Okay.
So same thing, I'm going to use some chopped up garlic. I've also chopped a little bit of shallot too.
Lovely.
I like adding shallots to my vegetables, and it adds just a little touch of color as well.
And peas and onions are kind of a very classic combination. The flavors blend well together. I think they'll really complement each other in the dish.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. So we have that going, and we'll add the peas in there too.
Okay.
So you want to, freshly shelled peas.
Such a great hit of color, and they're so delicious in early summer, late spring. They really shine.
Okay, so we'll get those cooking just a little bit, and then in a moment we'll add our stock in there, and we'll let all these veggies simmer with the stock.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll move on to the kale. All this.
Kale is another one of those vegetables that sort of trended up. It's an alternative to spinach. It's so good for you, and many people don't know what to do with it. So,
kale's delicious. I love it. It comes in a in a big bunch like this. So I've taken about half a bunch. Obviously, the stems are very long, woody, so you can just cut them off with a knife or break them. So that's what I've done here already.
Okay.
And then I've just continued on with a chiffonade cut, like I do with my basil or my mint, I'm going to do later. Put the leaves together, roll them up tightly, and then we're just going to slice them like this.
All right, we'll get all the kale chopped up. We'll put the salmon fillets into the oven, and when we come back, we'll finish off the kale, put all the veggies together for a delicious summer dish.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to the Terra at Home kitchen, where Chef Rachel is putting the finishing touches on our market fresh meal. We've got some artichokes we've done in the pan, the peas with shallots. You've got garlic going there for our kale.
Yep.
Maybe fill them in on what they've missed with the braising of the artichokes to start, I think.
Okay, yeah, the braising of the artichokes there, I put about a cup and a half of stock in there.
Yep.
And just let them simmer on medium heat until all the liquid evaporated. It's as simple as that. I've just chopped up some parsley here, so I'm going to sprinkle that on top and we'll mix that together. Same with the peas. Added some stock there, simmered it on medium heat, and we have some fresh mint to go in there.
Wonderful.
And now for the kale that we've chopped up.
So you did these in a nice chiffonade like you often do the herbs, and now they're just going to go into a nice hot pan?
Yep, hot pan with some brown garlic there. And this is, I mean, similar to, say, spinach, which is a little more of a popular side dish, as it cooks quite quickly. So a little bit of oil, some garlic. We can season it with salt and pepper, as I did these as well.
So we're just going to basically let them wilt in the pan, and then everything's being combined?
Yes, exactly. So we'll put our artichokes in here with the fresh chopped parsley, our peas and fresh mint. Like all the liquid, almost all of the liquid, I should say, has evaporated. So put those in there. And then we'll mix it together with this beautifully wilted kale and spinach. And it serves as a perfect side dish for our salmon.
Fantastic. Of course, as always, you can find this recipe online at terragreenhouses.com. Oh yeah.
There we go.
A perfect fresh and vitamin-packed accompaniment for our salmon, and I can't wait to eat it.
There we go.
Lovely.
Shall I spoon some on there?
Definitely. Thanks, Rachel, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Join us again next week for more Terra at Home.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.